Welcome to Illuminating Catholics, podcast of the Diocese of Sioux City. I'm Dawn Prosser, Director of Communications for the Diocese. Together with Carmen Bauer of the Faith Formation Office, we will shed light upon topics of faith in the modern church. Our guests include Catholic clergy, religious sisters, and other experts in their fields to help us understand what's happening in the church today. We will explore issues, even the tough ones, and to find answers to common questions about Catholicism. Thank you for joining us for today's Illuminating Catholics, shedding light to understand the modern church.
Welcome back to the Illuminating Catholics podcast. I am Carmen Bauer, the Director of Faith Formation for the Diocese of Sioux City.
And I am Dawn Prosser, Director of Communications for the Diocese.
We appreciate all of you that are listening, and we hope subscribing to the podcast to learn more about different aspects of the faith of it has been fruitful and beneficial to your lives. As this episode drops, we are celebrating National Vocation Awareness Week and working towards a holiday near and dear to our hearts, Veterans Day, on November 11th. In light of these, we have a very special treat for you. 2 diocesan priests who have also served as military chaplains. We are very happy to have retired priest Father Francis Higgins calling in from San Antonio, Texas, and Msgr Ken Seifried, who drove in from Holstein to join us in our studio. So welcome to you both.
Thank you.
So glad.
So you're on site and I'm not.
That's correct.
Miles away.
So in a sense, we're talking about you.
Yeah.
So we really receive great feedback whenever our priests that are on the podcast talk a little bit about their own history. So before we talk about military service, we'll start with you, Father Higgins. If you want to tell us a little bit about where you're from and when you first considered the priesthood. Let's start with that.
Well, I'm from Fonda, Lady Good Counsel was school at that time. And so what else you want to know? You want to know where I'm from and
when you
first
considered the priesthood, and I'll ask you another question.
I'm still considering it. It hasn't changed. I don't know. It's just something that it was just kind of worked into my system. I don't remember ever writing it down or telling you about it. I don't know.
Just happened.
Just happened.
All right.
Just like, I guess, falling in love. It was just, it's something that you are aware of, but just don't really, need anybody else's approbation, I suppose, if you don't really want it.
Fair enough. So where did you go to seminary, Father?
It was in Dubuque at the time, Mount St. Bernard.
Okay. And people love to hear before you went into the military service, what parishes and schools did you serve in the diocese?
Bancroft and Heelan and Kemper.
Okay, very good. We're going to switch to Monsignor Seifried, who's here with us. Where are you from, Father? Or Monsignor?
I'm from Manson, Iowa, just west of Fort Dodge, Iowa.
Okay. So when did you first consider the priesthood?
When I was about in the 3rd grade, I wanted to be a general in the Army. I wanted to be a semi-driver, and I wanted to be a priest. And you know what? It all happened. I became a priest, and I got assigned to Kemper to teach. I became a bus driver and a semi-driver. Well, thank God I didn't fulfill that requirement.
And so tell us where you went to seminary.
First of all, I went to Manson High School, Loras College, and then 5 summers at Creighton to get a master's degree to be a principal of the school, permanent teacher certificate. And then I went on to Mount St. Bernard Seminary, same place where Father Higgins was. Got ordained a long time ago, 62 years ago, 1963, way before you two were born.
Just a couple of years in my case. Yeah. So give us a rundown of parishes and schools you served before you took off.
Okay. I was assigned after we got ordained to teach in Kemper. I taught there consistently for seven years, and then I went to the military. And after about 2 years teaching, I really enjoyed the young people, but I wanted to see the world. My father was in the First World War in Germany, so he got to see the world. My 3 older brothers were all drafted. They got to see the country and the world. And I wanted to see the world too, so the only way I could get out at $75 a month, I was paying at Kemper. I went to Bishop Mueller twice a year to see him personally, and twice a year a letter. Wanted to go in the military. And finally, he was going to retire in August, and in June he decided, well, he was leaving. I said, well, okay. he said to me, "You can go to the military now too." So after 7 years of teaching, I went to the military.
All right. I remember that comment about wanting to see the world when I interviewed you a couple years ago. So you both answered the call to serve as one of God's holy priests. So other than wanting to see the world, Monsignor, what interested you? Because you were in the military a long time. You didn't just try it for a year and leave.
Yeah. I was in 28 years. It was a wonderful life for a priest because the military people look upon priests very similar as they look upon the military. There's rules, there's regulations, and so many different Protestant denominations that I don't care if the commander was a Catholic or not, he really wanted a priest because he understood what the Catholic Church understood the priesthood, but a lot of times he couldn't quite understand the minister because it's different, might have been a small denomination. But it was just really fun and exciting and very positive, very, very uplifting, very uplifting. Just one little example. One guy, 2-star general, and I think I might have been a captain, and he was a Catholic guy, and he said, "Hey, Father, let's get something straight here." He said, "My name is Buck Kernan. It's not Major General." And he said, "And your name is Father. So you got an understanding of that? Let's go that way." I thought, people were just so helpful to a priest. It was easy, just easy and affirming.
That's awesome. So, Father Higgins, what drove you to pursue military service as a Catholic priest in the Air Force?
I suppose it's similar like Ken's. I was teaching, and then would go to any extreme to get out of teaching or something. So I joined service. Although I really didn't mind teaching that much, but I did my time. I had 9 years of it.
So did you have to talk to the bishop and say, "Hey, this is something I want to do"? How did that all?
Well, I just wrote him a letter. But when I was ordained, I think I had written volunteering to do that and several other things. So that letter, I presume, was kept on file. So when I asked again, Gretelman was the bishop at that time. The letter was on file. I presume I referred to it, and so there was no. I guess it was not like a flash in the pan or something. It was something that I had thought about for some time.
Did you have any family members in the Air Force, or just
no?
Just something you
My
thought?
father was an only child, and so I think in the war, the one-child families were exempt from the draft, especially if they're farmers.
Yeah.
Father Higgins, can you share with us some of the places that you've served in the military?
Well, I started out in Fort Worth in Alaska. I was in the East a couple times in Okinawa and Korea. And I was once in Europe, in England, actually. And otherwise, otherwise in the States. I was 2 other assignments in Texas as well as Florida and South Carolina.
Just here, if I can interrupt Carmen for just a second, by any chance, did you ever serve at Lackland?
I did.
Okay.
That was my 3rd assignment.
All right, because I believe that's where my son-in-law went. He's a veteran of the Air Force as well.
Yeah, that's basic training, so they go there.
Okay.
As you look back, Father Higgins, on your time in the military, what are a couple of experiences that really stick out to you that are kind of meaningful to you in a special way?
Stick out in what way? Memorable things. I don't know, just it's kind of just I think I kind of consider like being in a parish in a way. It's just kind of parish stuff and kind of chaplain stuff. The reasons that in the service they would see a chaplain are quite a bit different than they would see a priest or a parish priest outside of the military. But it's still being a chaplain is something that I think it's in the conscience of a lot of people. Because it's thinking that there's more to a spiritual side, more to life, and the military, the very material sort of existence, and I don't know. It's just sort of something that I was not surprised. I don't think very much at all about the kinds of assignments that I did. I was on the remote in Alaska for a year, but even that was this kind of in a small reflection of what I experienced in bigger parishes, bigger military units. So I don't know. That's about all I have to say about that, I think.
Well, when as civilians here, and especially as Catholics, is there something that you've learned about soldiers, or something that you wish that we, had an understanding of when we think about the soldiers and pray for them? Is there anything from your experience that you would like to share in that regard?
Well, I thought about that. People are people, and usually the issues that, whether it's being transferred or moving or getting married or whatever, is kind of replicated in parishes, in civilian parishes, or vice versa. What happens in civilian parishes is kind of replicated in the military. So it wasn't anything except for that remote assignment. It was just kind of, especially the Air Force. Kim was in the Army, and the assignments are differently, but we're assigned to a base.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was assigned to a unit or something, to a ground. So it was just sort of a parish, only the rectory was the base chapel, sort of.
And do you still keep in touch with the people you've met over the years?
Well, few, but not very many. Few.
Well, now switching over to you, Monsignor, can you share some of the places that you've served?
I had one tour in Vietnam, 2 in Korea, 2 in Germany, Cuba, Suriname, South America, and then the rest was stateside.
Wonderful. And what are some of the memorable experiences that you have?
In Vietnam, I was offering a service, and some rockets was coming in. It was in Texas Covert, and they said I had to leave because a kid got hit in the leg, pretty serious. They could bring a medevac helicopter and take him out. So I went out outside the perimeter, and they brought the soldier in, and his leg was, you could see, he was pretty torn up. And so I got into the helicopter, and he was lying down, and I had my helmet on and looked down, and he saw the cross on my helmet, and he took my hand and he squeezed it real tight, and he showed me around his neck he had a St. Francis scapular,
Mm-hmm.
St. Christopher a medal, St. Michael the Archangel. He had a rosary around there. And I looked at him and I said, "Wonderful. You're a Catholic. I'm a Catholic priest." He said, "Oh, no," he said, "I'm Southern Baptist." and I thought, didn't make
You
a
had all that
difference.
stuff on. He's a Baptist. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And he said, no, it didn't make a difference to him that he wasn't Catholic, and that didn't make a difference to me he wasn't Southern Baptist. So we took to an aid station, and the doctor checked him out, and he's holding my hand so tight, squeezing it, and they said, "You got to go down for surgery." And he looked at me, he said, "You go along?" And I said, "Well, yes." But the medic guy knew I wasn't going along, I was going back up. He slipped his hand in so easily and replaced my hand with his. He held on to, and away he went. And so I tell that story because the soldier wanted some physical evidence that God was with him. And the Catholics get all these medals or so. You wonder what's that superstition? But for them in their mind, that's a sign I'm not alone.
Certainly, and I would imagine in combat that you have an extra appreciation for the presence of a chaplain, of a priest.
They didn't care what denomination were. They saw that cross.
Mm-hmm.
They were so lonely and scared, and so you walk around. It was so easy being. I wish it was that easy now. So
I was just thinking.
Maybe start shooting at people. I don't know.
And do you keep in touch with any of the folks that you?
A little bit. My claim to fame is the #1 general in the Army, a 4-star general. Brought him to church, gave him RCIA, worked with him, and he's still in Washington, D.C., and he said, "I go to church practically every day if I can." And so, a little bit here and there, but, when you go back to an installation, a base, everything's changed, new construction, people aren't there, means nothing anymore. So you just walk down any street. So, not, here and there, as Father Francis said, very limited contact with him.
Well, and having served in the places that you served, What can you share with us about veterans, especially those of older generations, those who went specifically through Vietnam? What can we remember and keep in mind?
When you get off the airplane from Vietnam, you make damn sure you change your uniform. Do not let people know that you're in the military, because little old lady will come up and say, "You baby killer, you knocked that off." And so it's amazing now. On my license plate, I have, "Yes, I'm retired." People constantly say, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." I think it must have been the Gulf War that changed things. Unbelievable change. Before, you kind of hid, you didn't let people know you were in the military because you're a baby killer, because of the napalm and all that stuff. And so, but now the military, they get great recognition. These guys 185th out here, which I work out there once a month. They're going to, they go to restaurants and boy, they feel proud.
Yes. Yeah. Would you have any messages to the veterans themselves?
Well, they've taken 2 or 3 years out of their lives to contribute to the freedom of this country. And most of them will probably say, well, I just, donated a couple of years. But they're really proud of that. As they get older, 2 years means nothing out of an 80-year-old person, but they just very feel proud. You have these Veteran Day deals, boy, they come and they stand up. So they're just a proud, and they'll let you know. And then the best thing you do for them, ask them, where did you serve? Oh, then make sure you have your lunch with you, because they love to talk about it.
And I'm so glad that they do. It's interesting. My father served in Korea.
Okay.
And when you told that story just now, when he came home and my mom picked him up at the airport, I think in Colorado Springs, maybe, and they were newly married. Like, I think they'd been married a year when he left for Korea. When they came back, he had his uniform on and they could not get a hotel room. And when he changed into civilian clothes and out of the uniform, it wasn't a problem. So he also experienced that kind of, let's call it discrimination. So I'm so glad that we've turned the corner. And I'm like you, I don't know when it happened, but thank goodness that we're giving people
maybe Desert Storm. Somehow that seemed to be a justifiable service. But what a change.
Yeah. Thank goodness. And I love all those honor flights out to DC where the veterans get on. And my dad was able to, my sister took him. He didn't go on one of those, but if you don't have tears in your eyes when you watch coverage of that, there's something wrong with you. So thank you for your stories. Unless there's something else you want to tell and we cut you off.
Oh, we're gonna cut me off?
No. If you have another story, that's a good one though.
No, that's good.
Okay. All right. So I know you all are busy. Our retired priests are such a blessing to us in so many ways. And I know Msgr used to do some substitute teaching, but I know you're really busy. He was just making an appointment right before our recording for some coverage. But tell us a little bit about what you do in your retirement, because I know you're not sitting at home.
Well, things have changed the last couple of years. I've been retired from active ministry. I retired at 72 as a pastor, and I've been 16 years. When I first retired, I remember one time I went 8 solid months every weekend helping out in parishes. But now it's really, very limited because, number one, a lot more retired priests. Number two, fewer parishes and fewer masses. So not much. And I had a number of masses over the weekend. I was up north at my Sibley area. But so I think things have changed a lot. And the high school, teaching there for 10 years and stuff, that was the best thing I ever done as a priest. One of the best things. I got to meet the kids, and from the kids, if I could identify their parents in the store, I could affirm the parent. It's a wonderful thing. And so now we have football. I still want a little bit in contact with the school, but that was a wonderful thing. So now what do? Read a lot of novels, watch Andy Griffin. I know all the reruns 3 times, and I go to coffee shops, and it's just a good life, and it all depends upon health. So far I'm still cooking. So
did you say you go to the 185th once a month? Did I catch that?
I'm kind of the Catholic chaplain, 185th. So I go there once a month, and I coordinate it. A lot of times, like if I can't go, I shouldn't say it, but if I only have one mass there and the parish wants me for 3, I'll take the 3, and we'll call Father Larry Burns or Father Roger and you do the one, and I'll take the one with 3 masses. So this coming Saturday at 4:00, I go there. Get about 50 people, and a lot of college kids coming
Really?
from their weekend work, and and then families. Papa's in the military or mom is, so come along and. It's amazing quality people. Got some medical doctors in it, different people in it, and so the gal down in Anson, Iowa. She got 4 kids. She's gonna be a general. She's a general now, right? And so it's really exciting. People are so good, man. They're good.
That's exciting. Did not know about that.
So
That's exciting. I know you keep busy. Father Higgins, I don't know you as well as I know Monsignor. So what are you doing to keep busy in San Antonio?
I'm not very busy.
I didn't know if you filled in at parishes or.
Well, I help. They call me, but I also had a contract out at the Lackland Air Force Base, so I was out there a couple of times a month.
Okay.
But that ended as of the fiscal year, 30th of September.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I'm moving to Sioux City, so
That's what we were talking about before we called you. So when is the big move?
well in November.
Okay.
I'm planning about the middle of November, maybe.
All right, probably right a few weeks after this podcast will go public. You'll be with the moving truck, and will be nice to have you.
I said that.
It'll be nice to have you in the diocese. We'll be sure to meet you face to face when you get back here. So, anything else that you wanted to add about your service? I think you also served in a prison facility, Father. Did I?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And also, I was 3 years at the retirement home in Washington for veterans.
I forgot that as well. So I thought we should mention that. It's kind of an interesting angle. You both had such different experiences, but always fun to recap the wonderful service that you've done for our airmen and for our soldiers in our country.
Definitely. And thank you both. Thank you to Father and Monsignor for being here today. I always love listening to these kinds of stories and these learning more about our priests. And so thank you both for being here. And thank you for your military service as well as your priestly ministry. And we'd also just like to say happy Veterans Day to not only the both of you, but to all of our listeners who are veterans. Thank you so much for your service. And thank you to all of our listeners for taking time to listen to today's Illuminating Catholics episode. We sure hope you enjoy it. New episodes drop each Tuesday wherever you get your podcast or at lumenmedia.org.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Illuminating Catholics, shedding light to understand the modern church. Follow us for more episodes on topics of the Catholic faith. For more diocesan news, visit lumenmedia.org.